Hi, this is Brian Forrester of HiddenIncaTours.com, and today we are exploring Palenque in Mexico. Palenque was one of the great Mayan constructions located in the jungle in the eastern part of Mexico. And this actually is where Lord Pakal, the most famous Maya of the area, was buried. But what we're looking for today are examples of lost ancient high technology. You can see here that this staircase is quite crude in construction, with a lot of mortar made from volcanic ash. And this is a typical Mayan type of construction. You see relatively small stones, a lot of clay mortar, and then also stucco put on the outside in order to be able to hide the workmanship below. This is an example of a wall that still has the mortar on it and the strange T-shaped depression in the stone work. But now look at those stones in front. Those are massive in size. Again, you see the relatively rough construction work here, and then big slabs in the background at the bottom there. And here, large stone blocks on the right side that have been put back together. They were probably much tighter fitting in the past, and then much rougher work on the left-hand side. How can these be from the same time period? And now here, we're walking through part of this very large complex. And again, look at the stones that make up the staircase. They're very large, relatively, and very tight-fitting. And again, walking through the complex, you see quite rough work, some modern repair, and then these big blocks that make up this staircase. It's all limestone material, quite likely local, but why would you have such big blocks incorporated in a staircase like that when all of the rest of the work is relatively crude? And here, we're going to another staircase almost right next door, and notice that it is made of smaller stones with lots of mortar. Why two types of constructions in the same location? And again, quite massive stones making up this staircase with some likely later, cruder repair work. Here, rough work again. And this gives you simply an overview of what the jungle of Palenque looks like and the very organic nature of the construction of this ancient Maya location. There are also tunnel systems like this. This is actually where the people slept. These were the bedrooms because the jungle area is quite hot and it's always nice and cool inside here. And as we continue through the tunnels, with way too many tours for my liking, here we see a large slab of stone. And then walking through more of the complex, you see in general relatively small stonework, but beautiful looking edifices. And here, a small temple of some kind, and a relatively rough altar. Now we explore deeper into the jungle part of Palenque. Only 10% of it has been excavated, so that means the majority of it is still overgrown with jungle foliation. And going up a staircase, again, which is relatively crude in construction. We get to this large composition of stone, and this is a frieze or a relief carving of a Mayan noble of some kind, supposedly about to be eaten by a crocodile or alligator. Then descending back out of the jungle and into the main complex again. This actually is the core part of Palenque, where those large stone slabs were that made up the staircases. And here again, some very large slabs of limestone that don't match with the composition of the rest of the building. Notice that they fit tightly relatively compared to the rough work in the background, and some of them are damaged with large cracks in them and are even broken. Again, the rougher Mayan work, and then the large interlocking slabs of stone. I theorize that these large slabs are from a much older time period and that Palenque was found by the Mayan as an abandoned, somewhat megalithic site. And next door to where that building was, again, rough construction on the right, and then these very large slabs of stone that no longer fit together, almost stacked up as if they're simply a pile of what once used to be a very tight-fitting, relatively large structure. And now we're starting to exit Palenque, which is quite a massive site. Again, the farther we get from the core, the rougher the work we see. That's generally what we find at megalithic sites. The core tends to be megalithic and the oldest part, and then the farther out you go from the core, the rougher work we see made by the culture, in this case the Maya, or in the case of Cusco, the Inca, or in the case of Egypt, the dynastic Egyptians.